What's going on, everybody? Welcome to More Motorsports Garage. I hope everyone is having a blessed day. Now, I am going to be doing a video that I've done previously on the channel, so you may call it repeat content, but some content's better than no content. At least that's how I look at it. So these headlights here, I went ahead and did the scuff and buff method, and a few months out in the sun, they're back to their dull form. And it should look something like this. This one here was fine, and it still looks fine, but we're gonna go ahead and do the method that I'm about to use in this video on that one as well. So basically, I'm gonna be wet sanding these down with 1000 grit, step it up to 1500 grit, and we'll probably call it good at 1500 grit. And we're gonna shoot these with some 2K clear. Now, in my previous video, I used a spray gun, but we're gonna be using the 2K Spray Max 2K clear. Now, don't confuse this with Rust-Oleum 2X clear. Two totally different things. The X means times, so it's 2 times the coverage. This is a 2-part system. So this actually has a hardener, unlike Rust-Oleum's paint, and it is basically spray gun paint in a can. Really good stuff, has a nice spray pattern. This stuff is so good that if you don't use it within 48 hours, it hardens, just like a normal spray gun paint would. So to get around that, if you don't use the whole can, you can throw it in the freezer, and it'll stay good for a long time after. When you're ready to use it, you get a bucket of hot water, set it in there, let it warm up, shake it up real well, and you're ready to use it again. I'll leave a link in the description where to buy one of these, or you can buy a 6-pack. To do a whole vehicle, I would say about 8 is the good number to do a decent coverage. But if you're just going to do that, you might as well go with the spray gun if you can. But this stuff works really good, and it is a great substitute if you don't have access to a compressor and all that. So I'm going to be using this. We're going to be using the 1000 grit to 1500 grit. This is just some soapy water. We're going to plastic the surrounding area up and tape it. Make sure to wear a respirator and be in a well-ventilated area. Have fans sucking out if you're in a garage. Make sure the fans are sucking out the fumes, because this stuff is pretty toxic stuff. But just wanted to get that out ahead of time. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I haven't been posting a lot lately, but there will be some stuff coming soon. I got some paints in here that we will be using in the future, so definitely stay tuned. I'm gonna go ahead and get the tripod set up. I hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, so one of the first steps I like to do is get the area taped up around it. That way, whenever we're wet sanding, if we accidentally hit the paint, it won't hurt it. Now, on the hood, you can obviously just open the hood up to not sand on the hood, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably just going to tape it up and call it good. And after we get done taping the surrounding area up, then we can get started with the wet sanding process. So I like to use these little foam pads. You can get them at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. They're really good for wet sanding. That way you can keep it as flat as possible. And whenever the headlight curves, this curves with it. So that way you can still keep even pressure all the way across. So this is what I like to use for that. Now just go ahead and spray the headlight with the soapy water. I like to spray the sandpaper as well. Start with the 1000 grit and then work your way up to 1500 grit. You can go as far as 3000 grit if you want, but I feel like if you go too far that the clear might flake off. I'm not exactly sure, but I've always had good luck doing it this way. So there's tons of different methods to doing this, so you just choose which method you like the most. Make sure not to press too hard. You don't want to push too hard, just kind of let it glide across the surface while going back and forth. And then we'll wipe it occasionally to see how dull the headlight looks. And then we can assess how much more we need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, it's looking pretty good. Now we're gonna go ahead and step the grid up a little bit, and then we'll see how it looks after. All right, it looks pretty good and even with the sand scratches all the way through. So this side is ready. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, then we'll get this plasticed up and we can get started spraying. Right, you may run into issues like this where it looks like there's a crack. You don't feel anything. What you're gonna do is you're gonna keep hitting over and over until it looks like this, to where it's all even. Because if you spray the clear over that, you will see that line through the clear. So make sure to get all that off. That's some protective coating that they put on there. So go ahead and keep doing that. All right, now that we've got both sides looking really good, we can go ahead and get the plastic, tape everything up. Now the overspray from the 2K clear is pretty strong, so we're gonna tape up as far as we can with what plastic we have, making sure to get everything covered as good as we can. This will be repainted in the near future a different color, so it's not gonna be too big of a deal if we get some overspray dust on it, but just so you guys know, it does have pretty decent overspray dust. I'm also gonna try to put a filter on the back of the fan to filter out the fumes. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that and we'll get the paint mixed and shaken up. We'll go over more. All right, once we get both sides taped off, we're gonna wipe the headlights down one last time. Just a clean microfiber, make sure there's no dust or debris on them. Once that's done, we can get to shaking up the 2K clear. So in order to do the 2K clear activation, there's a little red piece that goes inside the cap, comes in the cap. We're gonna put that on the bottom, just like this. And then we're going to squeeze it, push it down, make sure it's all the way pushed in. Now it is activating, so we're gonna shake this up really well. We're gonna put a light coat on both of the headlights, then come back in about 5 to 10 minutes, do it again, and we're gonna just keep doing that till we have about 3 really decent coats to where it's nice and wet. So I'm gonna go ahead and shake this up. All right, before I get to spraying, I'm gonna do some test fires. Make sure it's spraying good, everything looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the light coat on, and we're gonna make it look as wet as we can. Make sure to wear a respirator and have your fans on. All right, that's the first light coat. We're gonna let that dry for about 5 to 10 minutes, but you can already tell it's looking a lot better. I'm gonna go ahead and do this side, and then we'll let it sit. Okay, so there is the first coat on both the headlights, no runs or anything, and they're looking beautiful. We're gonna let that sit 5 or 10 minutes, come back, do a couple more coats. All right, this is coat number 2. All right, it's looking pretty good. We're gonna let that dry another 5 minutes, do the third coat, and we'll be done. All right, this is coat number 3. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and let these dry, and then we'll remove all the plastic and see what they look like. But so far, looking really, really crystal clear. Okay, there it is without all the plastic. Looks brand new all the way through on this one. Now this one already looked good before we did anything, but this one didn't. And now look at it. Very nice all the way through. Looks like brand new headlights, and that was a fairly cheap method. Now the headlight restore kits are pretty cheap too, but they don't last as long as this will. A lot of people will argue that the spray clear coat over the headlights is not the good method, but they're probably using the 2X clear coat from Rust-Oleum, and that stuff is not good for headlights. This is a 2K. It's basically spray gun paint, and it looks crystal clear. While I was at it, I went ahead and did the trucks as well. As you can see here, basically just did a couple coats on it, and they look so much better than they did before. And these are not very easy headlights to find in good shape, so this is a pretty cheap alternative. And I still have plenty of paint left, so I'll actually be putting that in the freezer. So yeah, just make sure to keep it in the freezer until you're ready to use it. Once you are ready to use it, basically you'll just warm it back up in some warm water and shake it up real well, and it'll be good to go. And if you're wondering about orange peel, there is hardly any, if any at all. It looks really good all the way through. So I definitely recommend doing this if you have those really cloudy headlights and you don't want to replace them, because these things can be pretty expensive, especially for that Mazda B2300. They are not cheap. They're like $200 or something like that last time I looked. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but for some good stock looking headlights, they're pretty expensive. So I definitely recommend this method. I'll link as much as I can in the description of what I used. And if you guys were wondering on the Mazda B2300, it is running and driving. So I'm gonna pop the hood and show you under there real quick. So here it is under the hood. Everything's looking really nice. It's running really well. I have videos of this over on Texas Honda channel. Link is in the description if you wanna go over there and subscribe. I just got some racing seats put in, and everything's coming together really, really nice. I'm going Dragon Ball Z themed on this one. That's why we got the Dragon Ball there. It has an RX-8 6-speed manual transmission with a K20 out of an RSX. And it's a pretty good little setup that we have here. GT35 82R turbo from Max Speeding Rods, and a lot of other goodies. So this thing is going to be really awesome. So definitely go over on Texas Honda channel and subscribe there if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe here as well. But we've got a lot of stuff coming for this, and on the wife's MDX. This thing's going to get a repaint, and it'll look really cool. It'll be a one-of-a-kind paint job for sure, so you'll definitely have to stay tuned for that. I don't want to reveal what it is yet, but definitely stay tuned if you want to see that. Turn that bell icon on to get notified of every upload. I know I don't post here often. I'm trying to. It's just been really hard with the city coming down on me for painting out of the garage. They said little projects like this were fine, so that's what I'm trying to keep it down to, is the minimum for right now. We're still working on getting a shop. Everything is in the works. It's just being a lot more difficult than I expected it to be, financially and everything else. So just bear with me, and I greatly appreciate everyone who has subscribed and watched the videos to the end without skipping around. You are awesome, and I really appreciate you. But that's basically it for this video. If you guys like this video, please subscribe, check out my playlist, and come back for more. I will see you guys in the next video, and as I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.